say that.
Yeah, she really did say that after she just got done Gaddafi and then laughed about it.
We came, we saw, he died.
We came, we saw, he died. The fact that any human being would ever do that. By the way he died, that's some theory.
I don't know how anybody can look at that and say that there wasn't aggressive violations of the law. What they basically did is they would take something that supported a Hillary Clinton campaign talking point and they would overemphasize it and exaggerate it. They took anything that actually contradicted that narrative and they buried it deep, and through that they actually laundered Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign talking points through the
Joe Rogan and J.D. Vance didn't merely confront Hillary Clinton, they tore through her political facade with surgical precision. In an unrelenting assault, they dissected her scandals, highlighted her hypocrisies, and shredded the meticulously crafted image she'd spent decades maintaining. This wasn't idle commentary. It was a merciless takedown that revealed a career built more on survival than service, leaving Clinton's legacy fractured, exposed, and reeling under the weight of truths she could no longer escape.
Yeah, Jamie, pull that video up.
I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have...
want our intelligence community to be doing. I want them to be catching bad guys. I want them to be making sure that terrorists aren't going to kill innocent American civilians. I don't want them laundering Hillary Clinton's campaign talking points into the American media and giving them this air of legitimacy. It is sick and it's disgusting. It hurt the intelligence community, it hurt the American people, and it hurt the first Trump administration. We've got to have consequences for it.
Clinton has weathered political storms, scandals, reinventions, and countless media comebacks, all while exuding the confidence of a seasoned queen of American politics. But Joe Rogan and J.D. Vance weren't there to pay homage. This wasn't a coronation, it was an unflinching demolition of a career built on calculated smiles, staged outrage, and the political equivalent of duct-taping ambition to opportunity.
Conversation between James Comey.
110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined by the owning agency to contain classified information.
When James Comey testified about what he did and what they found with the Hillary Clinton emails, and then her version of it.
I did not email any classified material to anyone. There is no classified material.
She's just a straight liar. She
didn't waste a second tearing the myth into the light. For years, the Hillary brand thrived on a mix of self-proclaimed inevitability and elite immunity, as if the rules everyone else follows simply didn't apply. She could preach transparency while emailing classified documents from a server that might as well have been set up in a Bacali yoga studio. And no matter how much the media tried to swaddle her in a blanket of revisionist history, Rogan made it clear, the stench of those scandals still hung in the air, like cigarette smoke, in a rundown motel. And let's be honest, Hillary wouldn't have been a good choice anyway. She was a terrible one.
Hillary would have been a good choice either. She was a terrible choice. She's a corrupt politician, one of the most unlikable people that's ever run for office. They were trying to get people to be supporting her just because she's a woman. This is going to be her history. Women, ladies, I stand with her. So there's all these women that have this blind allegiance towards this career politician, completely full of shit. She's been full of shit.
And not with the slow burn of a political analyst, but with the blunt force of someone who grew up spotting snake oil a mile away. To him, Hillary wasn't just a former first lady or a twice-failed presidential candidate. She was the poster child for Washington's unspoken rule: insiders never truly lose. She may have missed the Oval Office, but she raked in the speaking gigs, foundations, book deals, and endless cocktail parties where everyone pretends she's still politically relevant. Vance cut straight through it. If failure pays this well, who even cares about winning?
We see J.D. Vance with Maria Bartiromo on Fox News Sunday.
I have to say, Maria, I laugh at the Democrats who are now all of a sudden so interested in the Epstein files. We know that Jeffrey Epstein had a lot of connections with left-wing politicians and left-wing billionaires, and now President Trump has demanded,
arguing that Hillary's greatest political talent might be surviving her own controversies. From Whitewater to Benghazi to the Clinton Foundation's donor list reading like the VIP section of a global lobbying gala. She's endured scandals that would have sunk most politicians, but instead of going under, she turns each scandal into a networking opportunity. Rogan likened her survival instinct to that of an apex predator. Only instead of hunting prey, She hunts speaking engagements.
I mean, that was a lot of people's perspectives on Hillary Clinton.
I'm pretty sure everyone loved her. I'm pretty sure she
the
won.
most loved.
She's
Why?
cool. I just like I liked her. Who isn't?
Yeah, Bernie Sanders.
Okay, but did you vote for Bernie?
He wasn't available to vote for.
Did you vote in the?
I didn't vote in the primary.
Primaries, right?
Yeah, but I had him on my podcast, and he was very sincere.
Okay, cool. I've had my mom on my podcast. You want to flex?
Vance didn't let her slide on the cultural front either. He tore into Hillary's attempts to brand herself as a relatable champion for everyday Americans, all while giving speeches and sporting outfits that probably cost more than a small-town family's yearly rent. Every effort at authenticity carried the same energy as a billionaire crashing a backyard barbecue in a baseball cap, hoping no one notices the Rolex. It's political cosplay, and Vance wasn't buying a ticket. Together, they dissected her hypocrisy with surgical precision. Rogan slammed the "I'm just like you" act. She dusts off whenever public sympathy is needed. Suddenly she's baking cookies, sipping beers, awkwardly dancing at rallies like a wedding guest after the open bar. But when the cameras stop rolling, she's back to fluent Donner-class jargon and plotting her next strategic re-entry. Rogan made it clear, the performance only fools those who want to be fooled.
To try to silence him and shut him up. And then consider, just yesterday, one of the chief surrogates of of Kamala Harris's campaign is Hillary Clinton. And you know what Hillary Clinton said yesterday? She said that misinformation should be met with criminal penalties. That we ought to throw people in jail and silence them if they say something that Hillary Clinton does.
One Vance, meanwhile, zeroed in on the generational problem she represents. Hillary's career, he argued, is a case study in how the same faces keep recycling through Washington like bad sitcom reboots. Every election cycle, the country is told it needs her wisdom, experience, and steady hand as if a younger generation of leaders couldn't handle the big leagues without her shadow looming over the field. Vance's point was clear. The issue isn't that America lacks new leaders. It's that the old ones refuse to leave the stage. Rogan didn't just call it hypocrisy, he called it an art form. Vance fanned the flames, pointing out that Hillary has mastered the Washington game so well that even her losses turn into wins. Lose an election? No problem, you get a book deal, a documentary, and a cushy seat at every think tank still pretending you might run again. In short, Vance suggested she's proof that political failure in America is just another type of career.
You're guilty of massive amounts of misinformation and disinformation as a part of a propaganda campaign.
Attorney General Pam Bondi has directed federal prosecutors to launch a grand jury investigation into members of the Obama administration over the 2016 Russia investigation.
A lot of them are guilty of it. Yeah. A lot of the people that are in that White House press conference, a lot of the organizations they work for, distributed absolute lies.
Total lies.
Tulsi Gabbard declassified documents that she says shows Obama administration officials manufactured intelligence to make it look like Russia interfered in the 2016 election.
How many of them during the whole Russiagate thing?
A lot of people think that the Russia thing was real.
Yeah, still.
I mean, the whole Steele dossier where it was completely concocted.
Funded by the Clinton campaign.
The focus then shifted to her 2016 campaign, the supposed victory lap of her career. Rogan tore into the arrogance, complacency, and the bizarre strategy of campaigning as if the presidency were already hers. Instead of energizing voters, it felt like a corporate rollout for a product everyone was told they had to buy. And when the voters said no, Hillary didn't just lose, she detonated her own narrative of inevitability. Vance reminded everyone of the post-2016 blame game. Instead of genuine reflection, her team handed out excuses like Halloween candy. It wasn't her fault. It was the media, the Russians, the FBI, misogyny, the Electoral College, maybe even Mercury in retrograde. Rogan added that, despite all the talk of transparency, the Clinton Foundation operated with the kind of opacity usually reserved for offshore accounts.
Was he?
He's so like when I met
charming.
He is, and he's actually still kind of good looking. Like even for an older dude. Yeah, why not? He's still so good looking, and she's just so miserable.
Well, she's publicly humiliated, and she thought that her big retribution would become president. Become president.
Sure.
And then that would be it. All water under the bridge. I'm a strong woman. I'm running this country. And then America was like, nah.
Vance drove the point home by focusing on the ordinary American. The people Hillary claims to champion don't have foundations with international donors or back channels to global power. They have bills, taxes, and jobs that don't come with six-figure speaking fees. Yet Hillary can still deliver speeches about the struggles of working families without ever acknowledging how far removed her reality is from theirs. Vance landed the final blow on her political legacy. After decades in public life, wielding influence and access to power, what exactly has Hillary Clinton achieved? Not the offices she held, but the results she delivered. The question lingers, hanging in the air like smoke after a fire, and the silence that follows speaks volumes.
People from the left that think she has the best chance of beating Trump or whoever is on the right, that they want her so bad. They're willing to exonerate her from so many different horrendous things. And one of the things I always point out, like, people want to talk progressive, you want to talk, being left wing, and she didn't even believe in gay marriage until 2013.
The best part was she was on NPR, which is this far right fringe organization, right? NPR, Terry Gross. And Terry Gross says, you used to be against gay marriage. Your husband passed DOMA, which made it a federal law that gay marriage won't be recognized by the federal government. And you changed your position. Like, how did that happen? Was it because Americans became... And Hillary's like, well, America changed their point of view. She goes, no, I understand Americans changed their point of view. What was your mental process? And she goes, no, Terry, you're saying that I changed my...
The people Hillary claims to fight for don't have foundations with international donors or back channels to the highest levels of global influence. They deal with bills, taxes, and jobs that don't come with six-figure speaking fees. Yet she can still deliver speeches about the struggles of working families without ever acknowledging how far removed her reality is from theirs. Vance landed the final blow on her political legacy after decades in public life, wielding influence and access to power. What exactly has Hillary Clinton accomplished? Not the positions she held, but the results she delivered. The question hangs in the air like smoke after a fire, and the silence that follows speaks louder than any answer.
Provided all my emails that could possibly be work-related.
Several thousand work-related emails that were not among the group of 30,000 emails returned by Secretary Clinton.
When they rigged the DNC, they rigged the primaries so that Bernie Sanders was going to lose.
I thought using one device would be simpler.
She also used numerous mobile devices to send and to read email.
She had her people into the DNC way in advance. That Donna Brazile book about it is...
Can change the packaging, update the slogans, and swap out a few buzzwords, but the recipe never changes. More bureaucracy, more self-congratulation, and the constant assumption that voters should feel lucky just to be noticed. Rogan then spotlighted her digital awkwardness. Hillary's attempts at social media have the same forced energy as a corporate brand, tweeting memes to seem cool. Every post seems filtered through a dozen advisors, stripped of personality, and delivered with the enthusiasm of someone explaining taxes. She's the living embodiment of a political PR department, patient, predictable, and obsessed with inevitability, yet the country still took a sharp turn in the opposite direction. Vance framed it as the ultimate irony. The woman who spent her career trying to control the political narrative ended up losing control of it in the most spectacular way possible.
I provided all my emails that could possibly be work-related.
Several thousand work-related emails that were not among the group of 30,000 emails returned by Secretary Clinton.
When they rigged the DNC, they rigged the primaries so that Bernie Sanders was going to lose.
I thought using one device would be simpler.
She also used numerous mobile devices to send and to read email.
She had her people into the DNC way in advance. That Donna Brazile book.
They poured salt on that wound, exposing her uncanny talent for rallying opponents more effectively than supporters. Every time she re-enters the political conversation, critics multiply while her base dwindles to a core of diehards who are more nostalgic than energized. She doesn't just polarize, she polarizes in a way that unites her enemies more than her friends. Vance landed one final blow on the culture of entitlement around her. The spotlight isn't gone, it's just paused, waiting for her cue. Rogan wrapped it in a metaphor that stuck. Hillary's political career is like outdated software, constantly patched but never improved. The graphics get shinier, the menus rearranged, but the glitches remain. No matter how many updates she applies, you still wonder why anyone keeps using it when faster,